Okay, here we are. We are
Woo!
live for the Mayor's Forum. We've got everybody in, and we're certainly excited. We are missing one,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, of the
Mm-hmm.
candidates, but we'll talk about them anyway
Yeah.
and try to let you know what we know about
Yeah.
them. So, first of all, let's bring all of our candidates in, and we're happy that all three have joined us. We have
Yes.
Ed Bolt, we have Rob Morris, and we have Edwina Wolf or Edwina Butler Wolf.
There you go. There you go.
Really, guys, thank you for taking your
Mm-hmm.
time and thank you for having the courage to run.
Mm-hmm.
What we'll do to start off the forum is we're going to start with opening comments. We'll start first with the elected official sitting in office, and that would be for this forum, Mr. Ed Bolt. Ed Bolt, your opening comments, please.
Thank you, Daniel. I really appreciate you and Fiona doing this. I think it's very useful for the community. So I appreciate you doing that so everybody can hear from all the candidates. I am Ed Bolt. I'm currently serving as the mayor of Shawnee. That has been one of, I can tell you, one of the neatest experiences, I think, in my entire life. It's been a great thing to get to serve the community in that capacity, and it's something that I have really enjoyed, and I've learned a lot by doing that. Um, Personally, I feel that experience, the 6 years that I've spent on city commission and for especially as mayor, has been very useful. There's a lot to learn about how city government runs, and until you actually sit in that seat and you get involved in that, that's there's a very steep learning curve. So I have appreciated that opportunity. I think I have a good business background with AT&T, and then being a small business owner here in Shawnee, that is added to that. And I'm not sure you're going bigger and smaller, so I'm not sure if that means I only have a little bit of time left. You let me know. And
Yes.
Yes, you do.
and
I made a
Daniel, I'm
mistake. I was thinking 1 minute,
well.
but opening comment directed
That's
two.
okay. I didn't want to overextend my time here, but at AT&T, I had to deal with their largest customers, had statewide responsibility, had much more business to deal with than if you compare that to the city of Shawnee's budget, the business that I ran was much bigger than the city of Shawnee, and that was like I said, a very high leverage position, and that was something you couldn't screw up. So I learned an awful lot from that. And then being a small business owner here in Shawnee, I think was very useful also because that gave me another perspective. So I'm sure I'm probably about out of time.
You are now. You
Yes.
are
Thank
now.
you so much.
Officially.
That is fine. And next up, we have Miss Edwina
Mhm.
Butler Wolf.
Mhm.
Edwina, thank you for being with us. You have up to 2 minutes for your opening comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing us to take this opportunity to give our experience and who we're about
Mhm.
during this time of mayor candidates. So I'm Edwina Butler Wolf, born and raised in Shawnee, Oklahoma. I graduated from Dale High School way back there in 1979, and I've born here and was raised northeast of Shawnee at a farm in the country, and my dad and mother is deceased. So Roland Butler and Beverly Jean Longhorn Butler. Longhorn was her maiden name. I have seven sisters. One unfortunately has passed in 2007, and both parents are deceased. And I have seven sisters and 10 nephews. So my my goal to run for mayor was I was governor of the absentee Shawnee tribe for 6 years. I did 3 terms. They were 2-year terms, and the city government is not any much different than running a tribe. We had about 4,200 tribal members that was across the United States and other countries across the country. And by looking at the city government, it's not any more different than you're mostly working with state funding and federal funding too, as well. As you know, federal tribes and nations are federally funded. And so it's I will oversee it as governor, oversee the police, health, and just make sure the laws were up and going, and everybody was going in that direction and trying to find funding for um, our our tribe. So the city government is not going to be any different. And I'm used to leadership, and I've been that role, and I think I am the best candidate for that position. And it's about time for a woman to be running the city. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Edwina. And now we go on for opening comments to you, Mr. Rob Morris. Thank you, Rob.
Thanks, Daniel. I appreciate it. My name is Rob Morris. June 18th, I most certainly appreciate your vote for mayor. I have lived in Shawnee. I turned 44 this year, and I've been here pretty much for 44 years. Excuse me. I was actually born in Ada, Valley View Regional, but I've lived in Shawnee my whole life. It's the only town I know, the only place I know to call home. I have a different take on things as far as the city government. There isn't really a learning curve. The Open Meeting Act, open record law, rules and titles and things, it's all meant for anyone to be able to look up and read and have a general understanding of. So what it takes to be mayor is someone with a clear head that's actually looking out for the whole of Shawnee, not special interests or small groups. Now, my background is I'm an aviation mechanic. I built airplanes for just shy of 15 years total. I was in charge of $4 billion with a B worth of airplanes. Now, to me, saying things like that doesn't mean a whole lot because, as Mr. Bolt said, he was in charge of a lot of things at AT&T. So I guess we can call ourselves even on that. My goal with Shawnee is to have transparency, which means the good, the bad, and the ugly, and anything that's allowed by law. I also want the commissioners to start following the rules. We still have commissioners now that are going to get to walk scot-free, having never filled out the paperwork they were supposed to. We have an issue at the expo. Actually, we have several issues at the expo. We have several issues at the depot. We have a dam that needs to be fixed. We have roads that need to be fixed, pipes that burst all the time. It's interesting that everyone talks about the issues, but nobody really ever names them off and says what they plan to do. So, if you would be so kind to give me your vote on June 18th, I would sincerely appreciate it.
Very good, Rob. Right on time. Quick question for you. The things that you mentioned, Rob, do you feel that the commissioners are not aware of those right now or trying to address those issues?
Not all of them. I think the depot was addressed a little bit, although way too late. I think the expo, we have a contract that has never been followed at all, and yet for some reason we keep renewing the contract every year, and we just renewed it for, I believe, an extra 3 or 4 months. That way it would overlap the rodeo. And these are things to where if we can't hold a contract accountable, then obviously we're not getting our money for it. And since we got rid of the contract review committee under Mr. Bolt's watch, we don't talk about those contracts anymore. Just a quick vote and that's it. And those are issues that have not been addressed by the commission.
Meaning the expo was the one issue you just mentioned was not addressed by the commission. Understood.
That I could also say the dam is one. We haven't done the
Well,
preventative maintenance.
stop. Thank you. Let's go now to questions. Edwina, I get asked, who is Edwina Butler Wolf? And I like to tell them that you are a state champion basketball player from Dale High School, one of the first high school players I ever saw over at the old Clark Craig Fieldhouse. And I love that. But that was a long time ago. Please share with us past positions, in addition to what you mentioned in your opening statement, that you have held and how you feel they best qualify you for our mayor position.
Okay. Well, I like I said, I worked at the school system for 15 years as a Indian education coordinator, and I coached basketball, and I coached basketball and girls sports, and so I feel that leadership, and I started that way back there in the early 90s, and I've built my way through, and I've served on a lot of boards. One particular board was the United Indian Tribes of Oklahoma, Kansas, and Texas, which I was the vice president of that. We had all the tribes in those states, and we all come together to do talk about issues that we were facing in tribal government. And I've done a lot of roundtable discussions in Washington, D.C., negotiated. I helped with negotiating a pipeline that came through our tribal citizens, of them putting water lines through. It was a contract that came through 50-year expansion, but so I was so lucky when I got in that I had to deal with that. And we worked, with the BIA, the U.S. Bureau of Indian Affairs, and so I've got a lot of leadership in all areas, in education and in government to government, and to your city and federal and local government.
Okay, thank you very much. And now we go on, I believe, to Rob. Question for you, Rob.
Leonard.
Please tell us, if you become mayor, how will you form consensus with the 6 other elected individuals and sitting municipal employees to implement the ideas which you share and would like to see happen? I'm sorry, Rob Morris.
Sorry about that. I forgot to hit the button. Number one, when the commission gets in, you can actually talk one-on-one. That doesn't have anything to do with the quorum. You just can't make a decision. So informing someone, I have no problem reaching out to each commissioner and informing them of the idea that I have, and even seeing what input they want to give in. Because I don't think that I'm going to think of everything, and the more input, the better the final product could be. City staff, I think that they get put in a tough position a lot because someone has an idea and then they're supposed to figure it out. So what I would do is I would take my idea, get a good working plan, and then hand it over to city staff so that they could iron out the actual details. And that gives back time to them that they don't have to spend working for me, if you will, and they're working more for the citizens of Shawnee. I'll go with that.
Okay, thank you. Whoops. Thank you very much. And now to Mr. Bolt. I get asked all the time, what has Mayor Bolt accomplished? He has done nothing. So I think the people would like for you to list your accomplishments and why you feel they best qualify you to lead the next 4 years in our mayor's position. So accomplishments that people are asking about.
Okay. No, I'd be happy to talk about that. So, I think we've had a number of things happen in the last 4 years. One of the things that I would put at the very top of the list is that, we did a lot to fix our situation with the Citizen Potawatomi Nation. We de-annexed that property that was in dispute. We had a big situation with them where rather than working together as neighbors, we seemed like we were always at odds. And I was shocked when we got that done to learn that had been going on since 1961.
Wow.
And that was far, far too long. You get a lot more done when you're working together. Shawnee is very, very fortunate that we have 4 tribes here within our city limits and one just right outside. And we all need to be working together. We all live here together. You get a lot more done if everybody's pulling on the same rope. So, I think probably, and what I've been told, that's probably what people are going to remember most in the 4 years.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Now we will move on to questions that have been submitted for each. And we had 2 submitted. The first from Rob, and the question to you, Edwina, and to Ed is, what does transparency mean to you? and how will you use it to inform the city of Shawnee? And so we start with Ed on this one, and we will go over to Edwina second.
Yeah. I don't know. Am I on there now, Daniel?
You are.
Okay.
It's on
All
you.
right. Very good. So transparency in my mind means that you are getting out all the information that everybody is entitled to have. And I think that is extremely important. I have been very, very active on social media trying to let people know what is going on in city government. You know, all of our meetings are open, they're public. All of our finances are online that anybody anywhere in the world can look at. I pushed hard, and I was able to get us a public information officer added so that the city can do a much better job of getting information out to us. Nothing is done in secret. Absolutely nothing is done in secret. I know that sometimes can be a very popular thing with critics, but it just does not work that way. All of our meetings and all of that stuff is done right there in front of everybody, and we're going to continue to do it that way. That is the only way to do it.
Okay. Thank you very much. Now we go to Edwina. Edwina, should I repeat the question for you? Are you good? All right.
Me, to put it simply, as an open book. As like, for an example, as when I came into my governor role for the absentee Shawnee tribe, we had a lot of questions about things that was going on, and so it's keeping the people informed and finding out what you find out. I mean, you hear a lot of hearsay about, well, this is what's happening, and this is this and this, but until you get in there and filter through everything that people has assumptions about and assuming things were going on, then that's when I would call a meeting and let the people know of what I found out. And then if it was bad, then I'm going to tell you how I'm going to fix it. I was a lot of things about fixing. Seems like my first term was fixing things and implementing and bringing in revenue and seeking grants and federal grants. And so there's a lot of things and transparency, and you got to let the people know. The people's got to know. And what I did was put an article in our newsletter each month and to inform people. So that's what I would do.
Thank you very much. Now we move on to question number 2 that was submitted. This one from Ed Bolt. So for you, Rob, we'll have you answer first and Edwina second. Ed Bolt asks, will you join me in committing to be a positive, supportive partner to all the candidates who win the June 18th elections? Pretty simple. Rob, that goes to you, my friend.
Well, Miss Butler Wolf absolutely has my support if she wins, and I'd be more than happy to work with her on anything. I'd assume that I'd probably feel the same way about Mr. Stevens. Mr. Bolt, however, sued me in court, in County District Court in Pottawatomie County, for things that I didn't do other than speaking out of turn. So it is a little bit difficult for me to say that I would work with him, considering every time you talk to him, he wants to meet one-on-one so that it can be talked about behind closed doors again. So I'm iffy on all three.
Okay. Thank you. Edwina.
Yes, I'm always about working together. And even if I had differences with someone, I would try my best to work through whatever conflicts we may have. Or, of course, everybody's not going to agree. You know, you've got other people you've got to work with, and I think that if I already told Rob that if he wins and I don't make him the runoff, then that I would support him as our mayor. So I think that even with Eric, I don't know Eric Stevenson too well, but I do know Ed too as well. But I don't think I've ever been as being disagreeable on things. But it's just some of the things that right now that's going on that I've had concerns and coming down to the meetings hasn't been dealt with.
Okay. Thank you very much, both, for your answers. And that takes the portion of candidate questions to each other, and that moves us on to next questions.
Which is
Fiona.
woo! I'm just kidding. First and foremost, thank you all for running for mayor. You're living a dream of mine. So I am just inspired. I'm inspired by all of you and just the outlooks you guys do have based off of each and every experience that is so unique. I do, and I don't think a lot of people would be surprised by this. I do want to have a fun spin on this question, and I want to ask it to all of you. So the city of Shawnee in Oklahoma is a pretty unique state. We're fully funded by city sales tax, which means shop local. And I'm a huge advocate for shop local. So as mayor, let me just clarify, the city of Shawnee has a very limited budget. However, through this question, let's act like the city of Shawnee has an amazing budget. Amazing, huge budget. As the mayor, what would you implement or want to implement in the community to drive up the city sales revenue? So it could be a wide variety of things that you could implement into the community to gather people from all parts of the world to come to Shawnee, Oklahoma, or if you just want to focus on, surrounding communities and what we could incorporate in the community to increase that sales revenue. So as a mayor, what would you implement in our community?
And who goes first?
And we'll go with Edwina.
Okay, what I would do is bring different businesses in, like a Target, because I love Target stores, sporting goods, even your eating places. We don't have hardly any kind of steakhouses here in our town, and bring in most of these little restaurants that come in, like Dairy Queen, Del Rancho's always did really well. I remember when that was here years back. But you have to set something up in Shawnee to make people want to come, and then to plan tourism events, plan events here in town and make people want to come, and that would bring in a lot of revenue. We have the youth rodeo that comes in every year, and that brings in. So let's bring more events to Shawnee, Oklahoma.
Okay.
Okay, now we'll go to you, Rob. Wait.
Okay, so for me, I would go on a couple different ways. Number one, if I really didn't have to worry about money that much, people want to come shop, but they also don't want to tear up their car to go shop. So when we have roads that you have to drive down that'll bend a rim or just flatten a tire, people might not want to come shop in Shawnee because the roads are bad. So I would address the roads, number one, so that people can have an easy time to get to any shop in Shawnee they want to. Now, I also think the expo is an untapped resource that we haven't fully realized. We do have a company that runs it for us, and we do have a lot of events out there, but we can always have more. Why can't we expand a little bit? That draws in money. The rodeo is not actually the biggest money maker out there as far as what it brings in. There's a barrel racing competition that brings in a whole lot more. And so if we could have more barrel races, that would be great. Let's see, I did have one last, what was it? Oh, attractions such as Kids Space Park. I have looked into, and Tony Hawk, I think we all might recognize his name as a pro skater. Well, Tony Hawk has a foundation that they will come in and build an actual skate park that is made for adults, kids, and everything. Now, there isn't one except in Norman, and I think that's the closest one. So if we were to adjust our skate park we have now, we attract more people to Shawnee. And what do they do when they come here? They buy pop, chips, crackers, gas. I mean, they might stop at the grocery store before they leave.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Those are good ideas.
Good. And I do want to touch on something you said, Rob. Thank you for highlighting what we already have locally. I definitely want to throw that in there. You can, as this question, emphasize what we have here also. So thank you for that. Now, Ed.
Yes, ma'am. So cities are funded almost exclusively by sales tax. About 90 something percent of what we have to spend is from sales tax. So, you know, you have to figure out more ways to get people to shop in Shawnee. So I would, you know, work hard to try to attract new businesses. I mean, economic development is always a very important thing. You know, the mayor personally does not do the economic development. We contract to Shawnee Forward, but anytime that I can pitch in and help, anytime there's value in the mayor saying, you know, hey, we've got a wonderful community, you know, could you consider moving here? That's something I'm always happy to do. I actually had a lot of that experience through AT&T and working with Oklahoma City's economic development board that they had. So I did that quite often when I worked at the phone company. So you've got to try to increase that top line revenue, and the way you do that in city government, because of the way the state legislature has set up our funding, is to bring in more sales tax. So we need to try to get people to come in and shop from the outside, get more opportunities to settle here in Shawnee. And there's a lot of things that go into that.
All right. Thank you very much. Very good question. Do you have another?
Yeah.
For anybody?
I guess what I am curious about is, aside from social media, how would you all remain involved, aside from social media and your meetings that you all attend as mayor, of course? How would you all remain involved in your community socially? And we'll start with Ed this time.
Well, you know, you guys see me at stuff all the time. I mean, and I really enjoy that, you know, and Phyllis does too. So, I mean, we are extremely involved in the community, and that's not anything that's going to change. We just enjoy doing that. We're both people person, and we like being out and about, and you know, visiting with everybody. I have been to a long list of meetings today. We were at a lot of different events yesterday. We were down at the cornhole event. We were down at the fire game. My grandson's band was playing over at the brick house, so we were over there with a bunch of folks. You know, that's just what we do, and that's what we're going to continue to do. And you know, that's probably just a short, quick answer, but I mean, that's just what we do.
And now we'll go to Edwina.
Definitely out in social. I'm used to being everywhere and anywhere. There's not enough hours in a day when you become a leader, show leadership. So even being a coach, you don't have enough hours in the day to do what you're needing to do, and so mine would be out there and seeing what the people are doing, and I like to implement, if mayor, to implement and encourage our commissioners, our 6 commissioners, to get out in their community, to have town hall meetings and meet their wards and find out what their concerns are and give them a chance to talk to them one-on-one. And I'm going to be looking forward to, if elected, to work with our commissioners to do that, to implement that as well. So if I'm out there looking for, out there in social surroundings, then our commissioners needs to do the same thing as well.
Very good.
Yeah.
Next.
Oh, Rob Morris.
I would actually, going to functions and things are fine, but a lot of times, not every function, but some of those functions cost money. I'd kind of rather meet people where they are. I mean, I shop at Homeland. If you see me looking at cereal in an aisle, ask me a question. I mean, the worst I'm going to tell you is I don't know, and I'll have to go find an answer. Otherwise, ask. And that's meeting people where they are. The people I see every day at the store, or Walmart if I go out there, or the mall, PetSmart, even if I'm out looking at fish and you see me on an aisle, ask me a question. There's nothing wrong with that. But always going to functions, the only problem therein lies is most of the general public doesn't get to go to those. However, like the grocery store, everybody does go there. So I would meet people where they are, and I 100% agree with Edwina on town halls. I would even go a little bit further and add that I would like to bring up a discussion of the commission, so bring up an idea that we actually make it once a month to where it's mandatory that each commissioner, including the mayor for that matter, nobody gets out of it, but each person has a town hall, and we make that the status quo. So from here on out, we have a way to inform the public.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good idea. Town hall meetings.
Yeah,
are
well,
good.
that was
So-
a good perspective, and
Mhm.
incorporating town hall meetings through the commission. I appreciated that perspective, and also Ed, I appreciate the perspective of just being involved with your family's functions and showing up at the events and at the functions. That is super important, and I'm sure a lot of people here know that's definitely the way I do things as well. So I appreciate that. And honestly, Rob, that is a great point. Just bringing that up back to the people. That's a big reason why we do this, is to encourage the community to speak to the candidates and those out there. And so each one of those answers was very good and beneficial for me as a young voter. So thank you guys.
Yeah. And so that goes on to, unfortunately, one of our candidates hasn't made it, and I don't know him. Fhionna, do you know the other
Okay,
candidate?
so I thought I did not know Eric Stevens, but another one of those small town ties, if you will. His daughter and I did go to high school together, so I don't know him personally. I know the daughter went to Shawnee Public Schools, and she was in theater and still performs at Shawnee Little Theater. But that's as much as I know about that individual.
So I would like to know more about Eric Stevens. And so I'd like to ask each of you to please tell me what you know about Eric Stevens, who is your opponent running against you. And we'll go ahead and start with you, Rob, and then we'll go to Ed, and then we'll finish that with Edwina.
Well, I don't really know a whole lot about him either. I know that he had a plumbing company. He owns a lot of property in town. I guess Del Curbs had been pushing him to run real hard. Other than that, I haven't had a chance to speak with him. Tonight would have been a good night. That's about it.
Okay. And how about you, Ed? What do you know about Eric Stevens?
I really don't know much more than what Rob just said. I know he was a plumber here in town, and he's retired. And I know he's running for mayor. And beyond that, I really don't know much about him. I'm sure he's a very nice guy, and we'd be good neighbors. I saw him the other day at lunch at Billy Boy's, and I went across the room and shook his hand, said hi to him, and that's really about it.
Okay. Edwina, are you with us still there?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I'm trying to plug my battery thing.
Right,
I'm having all kinds of problems today.
That's okay. It's a Sunday.
That's right.
Is this Monday or I hate to see what tomorrow's going to be.
Monday on a Sunday.
There you go.
Yes. Well, about Eric Stevenson, I did find out my home ec teacher that I had years back. That is her nephew. I didn't know. She did tell me that. And he grew up in Meeker or something. He's was from Meeker. So that's all I know about him.
So we don't know a lot. And this is what I know. I'm going to find out because I don't know a lot either. I know what people have said. Let's see. Where do I have that? Yeah. For Eric, what I know about Eric is what I've heard from others. They like you. My personal experience, I reached out via text and email on numerous occasions and did not receive a reply, but I think I still like you. Your mailer is a great political piece. It looks like it was put together by a professional politician's handler for a statewide race. And I applaud you for that. That is a successful businessman's way to get things done. Your Facebook page, support city police and firefighters and first responders. Check. Defend our conservative values. I hear that a lot. Whatever that means, check. Support job creation and economic opportunity. Check. Get somewhere or get Shawnee moving in the right direction. Check. In my opinion, in the 20 years that I've built relationships with our community officials, every single one of them would have said those same things. Again, that is good business marketing. Now, though, the last thing from your Facebook page and mailer that I'd like to address is what I'd like to ask, would have liked to have asked you, and is really my only concern, other than you not communicating back when a resident contacts you, is common sense, business sense. Anybody who has served 4 years on any position in our elected city government would advise that common sense, business sense is simply not how government is set up to work. They could not get it to happen. What makes you different than those elected city leaders before you, which make you confident that you're the man to make common sense and business sense operational within the confines of Shawnee municipal government? Because if you can do that, man, you've got my vote. It just doesn't work the same way. And so I really wish we could have met you. I'm sure that we all would like you. I'm telling you, anybody who I ask who knows you likes you, I'm sure. And your family is beautiful. I mean, on the mailer, it was great. It looks great, but we don't know you. And that's unfortunate for us.
Yeah.
So we hope nothing but the best for you and yours. And we hope to be able to meet you sometime. Other than that, do you guys have some final comments for us? Would you like to go with final comments?
Well, one thing I wanted, we lost Edwina, I think.
And now she's come back.
There we
Edwina,
go.
are you
Good,
with us
good, good.
again? Okay. Are you ready for final comments, Edwina?
Oh, okay. So
Wait. Okay.
She's just right back in, and then you're on.
Yeah, we'll come to you in a second. And Rob, are you ready for final comments?
Yeah, sure.
All right, you start. We'll go Rob, Edwina, Ed, and final comments. Thank you.
Okay, so for my final comments, first and foremost, on June 18th, please vote for Rob Morris for mayor. And the last part of my final comment is the reason I asked the transparency question. Transparency is a big thing. It means the good, the bad, and the ugly gets to come out, because that's a well-informed public that gets to know all three. I had a little issue with the Shawnee aligned with CPN, where we weren't transparent, that CPN was suing us
What happened?
so that we would de-annex the property. That should have been told to everybody. Maybe it was ugly, maybe it wouldn't have been pretty at all, but the people need to know what's going on. That's one reason I'm running for mayor, is to bring that transparency back so that no one has to wonder what just happened. Why did they just vote 7-0? Everyone will be able to watch a meeting or come in person and know exactly what's going on. So with that being said, once again, I would be graciously accept your vote. Be so humbled by it. June 18th, please vote Rob Morris, and thank you.
Thank you, Rob, very much. Thank you, Rob, very much. I go here. There we go. And then we go to Edwina Butler Wolf.
okay.
Final
So
comment.
yes, I was wanting to touch a little bit on what Mayor Bolt had said earlier about working with the CPNs, and because I think I was in office as governor when I think Mayor Bolt was just announcing he was going to run for mayor, and I had asked him, we had discussed that he wanted to work with all tribes in our area. Potawatomi Nation is not the only tribe in our area, and I did ask at our last absentee Shawnee council meeting back in April if they had a visit from Mayor Bolt at the time, and they said no, they have never seen him at our headquarters of even discussing anything about any partnership with the absentee Shawnee tribe. So that kind of concerns me a little about that. Of the, you got many tribes around here, and if mayor that we're going to bring all the resources in and see what we can do to help build this great city town in Shawnee, because this is where I was born and raised, and I want to see it to move forward. And so with on June the 18th, I think with my leadership um, experience that I would love to be the mayor of Shawnee, to bring my leadership to the city, and because it does lack transparency. The people are out there in our community that just doesn't know what's going on and how to express like these new hours. And I'm getting a lot of calls and a lot of people asking why these new hours are like they are. I think they're from 6 to 5 or something, or start at 7 to 6. So that's a concern there. So I want to bring that to rest. And I think it's not working. So, and the citizen says it's not working either. It's because if they open at 7, you're at home trying to get to work. And you're at home at 6, and I work in Stroud, and I just barely make it home at 6 o'clock, and I have to get off early if I want to make a comment on the city meetings because you got to sign in, and sometimes I don't make it, and I want to my concerns, and I don't have time to do that. So I want to bring that more to the people. So.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Edwina. And now, Ed Bolt, final comments.
Yes, sir. So here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a bunch of commitments, and I'm going to continue to be deeply involved in our community. That is not something I just started like yesterday or the day before. That is something I have done for years and years, and I am 100% committed to keeping involved in the community like I always have been. I am going to continue my efforts to spread accurate information through multiple methods so that the community knows what is going on in Shawnee City government. I'm going to make the commitment to ensure that our budgets continue to be done legally and that we rebuild and sustain our reserve policies that we established recently. And it's a good thing we did because we needed those when the tornado hit us. And I'm going to keep working to ensure that city staff continue to do everything necessary to keep our audits squeaky clean, because that's exactly what they are, and that's where they're going to stay. And I am very confident that's going to continue that way. We're going to do everything I can to continue to offer assistance with economic development. That is so important because that's our revenue stream, is sales tax. And anything I can do as mayor to increase that, I am going to be glad to help with. I am going to continue to be available to the public to answer questions, and I'm happy to talk to anyone, anytime. And that is a promise. And then I am going to continue to strengthen our relationship with our tribal neighbors, and that includes all of them. And I know Governor Johnson well, and I have met with him many times, including in the absentee Shawnee offices. And that's an easy thing to check out. Governor Johnson and I have a very good relationship. And I'm going to continue to be a positive voice for Shawnee. We have to work to highlight the good things in our community as we compete for businesses and for folks to move here. That's how we grow.
Okay.
And I would be honored to get your vote again on June 18th and serve another term as mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you all three for being
Yes.
here. And all of the ideas are enlightening, and we do appreciate, again, your efforts.
Yes, and like I said, this is a courageous thing that you all are doing, and it is something so exciting. There are great things on the horizon for Shawnee, Oklahoma, and it is so inspiring to see driven, motivated people wanting to do what they feel is the best for their community. So thank you all for taking the time. Thank you all for dedicating yourselves to this work.
Thank you for having us, Fhionna and Daniel.
And I think that we can all agree, everybody get out and vote on June 18th.
Everyone get out and vote.
Or early. Get a vote early at the election.
Thursday.
Get to know Patricia Carter.
Yes. And I will say one last comment, just informing the people, especially the young voters out there like myself, learning more about local government. The mayor position is a volunteer, 100% volunteer position.
Yeah, you guys.
So these individuals really are pouring themselves into this community. And I do not say that lightly at all. Your time means so much. So we appreciate that.
And so we are going to let all of you go to get back to your campaigning.
Yes.
And thank you again for tuning or being with us. And
Thank you for having us.
Yep. Thank you.
all of us
Good
together.
to see everyone.
Yes.
Together we build community, one
One
season
season
at a
at a
time.
time.
All right.